Right, good evening. It is it's nearly 8:30. It's Friday the 11th of February. It's Valentine's weekend. We'll just wait for a few people to join. I'm a minute early. It's not good, is it? I've been a busy boy today. I've been spraying all day today, hence I'm literally covered in cocoa butter and all this stuff. This is all a collection that's going out on Monday. So but hello to everybody that's joined. Bad Tempered, I can see you. Who else have we got? Many bars, loads of people joining. Ron's Bonbons. Hi Ron, how are you? I got your message earlier. I've not watched any of the Olympics at all, to be honest. It's on at quite a late time here, so I've not caught any of it. I've seen a couple of things, but yeah. Hi Caroline, how are you? Nadia, hello. Do I say Judith? I don't know. Nadia. Chris, I can see you. Nina, I can see you. Hello. Mother Baker, I can see you. Mo, did you get that video of the RAF marching? I don't know if you got that or not, but it's just like, what? Why? Oh no, I'm getting messages from the other forum now. So Louis Beckett's. How's everybody's? Sarah, I can see you. Beehive Bakes, who... Deschamps, I can see you. Hi guys. How is the chocolate making going? I know we got a subject to discuss tonight, because I've had a week. I'm not going to name any names, all right? Because people are free to reach out. They've got problems, and there's a few that I'll pick the phone up to. I know they're big producers, or I know that they are at the start of their whether they got shops or having teething problems, but there's some people that phone me and I will answer. I will always pick up the phone. So some people had some real problems this week. I've been sent some I'm not going to say alarming. I've been sent stuff that it's like, well, what's happened? And because there were so many people that sent me those, they sent me pictures saying, you know, normally it's fine and now it's not. What's happened? So I thought I'd answer that tonight, because there is a fix to it. There is a reason for it, and there is a fix for it, and it's more to do with why the cocoa butter, when you spray it, why it stays in the mould, and when you take the shells, and then you wait for them to contract, and when you pull it out, the shell's got not much on it, and it's all still in the mould, right? I'm going to show you a love heart mould, because that's been the culprit this week, as has anybody that's got lips, and anybody that's got the little loves. What do you mean, am I growing a ponytail? What's that? No, it's not. It's my jacket. I would never ever do something like that. So the little moulds that's it says love, LOVE. That one has caused more problems than anything else. I've had more pictures sent to me. I'd love to have pictures of chocolates that are really, really amazing, and I have had lots of those this week. But I've had quite a few pictures sent to me of that, particularly that love mould that's causing quite a lot of problems, and there is a reason for that. So let me just say hello to some more people here. Jamie's there. How you, mate? Jamie, you got a Friday evening off? 8:30? Must be. Let me send some. Kelly, I can see you. There's a few people here that got chocolates this week. My hair's well long. Don't. It's going to get all cut shortly. Who else we got? Marvellous, I can see you. Marvellous. Has anybody been plagued by the advert, you've won an iPhone? It is absolutely doing my head in, that one. I'm absolutely fed up with, like, you've won no, I haven't. I've won about 200 of them this week, and I haven't seen any yet. So, and I've already got one anyway. Who else? Graphene, I can see you. Who else have we got? Choc Bonheur. Choc Bonheur, I helped with a little airbrush problem a bit earlier on today. I've helped lots of people this week, actually. I've had a lot of calls in and out of people that are struggling, and it's the Valentine stuff. But we'll let some more people join. Constance, how are you? Constance, I haven't seen you for ages, actually. We need to have a catch up. Who's this? Aaron Polderman. First session joined from Seattle. Thanks for this. This is my issue this week. Aaron, you and lots of people, right? And it's and there's quite an easy fix to it. So shall I get started on that? There's a real, I don't know if you know, but there's a real delay between me talking. It's about 10 seconds. So I say something and then we get a load of love hearts. Anyway. Oh wait, Charity says, hang on, we got a couple of questions. I'll get to the bonbons bit in a minute. I just kind of want to keep you on the channel. I don't. I've got Charity's asking, how are you? I'm very well. I saw a video where a chef mixed icing sugar and cocoa butter, not tempered, to make white. Is that no, because icing sugar. Icing sugar is a liquid in a crystal form, and when it comes into contact with cocoa butter, it will turn back to a liquid because it will hydrate slightly, and all it will do is sink to the bottom. And it doesn't. The only way to get those two to mix, because you've got a water and you've got a fat, is to emulsify it. But it would never spray through a gun. I don't know. They may well have mixed what looked like icing sugar, but I suspect it was titanium dioxide that they mixed into cocoa butter. But you couldn't mix icing sugar into cocoa butter. You can, but you shouldn't. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So Jamie's on here. Jamie used to work with me. That's my favourite phrase. Just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? So Mother Baker nearly got scammed with NHS tracking scam, so be careful, people. Yeah, it's not. I just keep getting this advert saying you've won this thing, and it's like annoying. So we got Phil, and we got Phil from Eco Baker. Hello, mate. Is one of my favourite suppliers. Fancy Nancy's joined us. Hi, Nancy. Maria's joined us. Mother Baker, did you know you're not late tonight? Mother Baker, would you care to explain? Chocolate bar handmade. Hi, chef. Is this the live record? Yeah, this is live. So if you've got questions, you should ask. Gosh, first day of tongue. If you've got questions, yeah, you should ask away. So yeah, Jamie's saying measure twice and cut once. Yeah. Do you know how much ingredients I've seen get thrown in the bin because people haven't weighed it properly? So yeah, it's one of those things. Molly's there from Atelier Chocolate. Katarina Gard is there. Gosh, there's loads of people joined tonight. Right, it must be the subject. Shall I have a chat about why? Oh, Ed Snickerdoodle's there. Snickerdoodle sends me the most technical questions, and they are really, really nice. I love a challenging technical question. So Snickerdoodle has won the award for the best questions, because you make me go into such minute detail, but that's all right. Every time I get a question, I kind of learn as well. So how is everybody's week anyway, while I'm thinking about it? Is everybody should have sent chocolates unless they're collecting them. Everybody has had issues. It's gone well. What's happened? Is everybody okay with what they've been making? I've seen some absolutely stunning photographs. Let's have a chat about this, right? Because when the subject tonight, or the what did I say? What did I call it on the when I put it on the live, when I put it on stories? The subject tonight. The subject tonight. So lots of people, especially with the heart molds, especially with the lip molds, and especially with the little love molds, right? So what the problem is the angles. Okay, if I look at these, I haven't shelled these yet, but I sprayed these today. All right, when you're doing domes, okay, there's only one area of retraction. All right, so it's retracting at the same speed over. Actually, there's some retracting here. Okay, you might be able to see this. Some of these are retracted, some haven't. So that is just a dark chocolate going in there. I did this about 15 minutes ago. So some of those are starting to retract, some haven't. They will all when one starts retracting, they will all retract. All right, it's just a question of time, really. And there's a difference between, when you put the chocolate in, there's a difference between it being dry and retracting, all right? And retracting is where it pulls away from the edge, and you can actually see, you can see here where it's, a few of these might, I don't know if I'm going to risk taking any of these out, but they might, if I'm really careful. I don't think they're ready yet. I certainly don't want to do that before I need to. I can feel that, I can hear them creaking and cracking, all right? So, will it? There we go, there's one. Okay. So, put that back in. So they all contract at different speeds, all right? So, and that's a dome, and it's all pretty even actually. It's only got one kind of surface area where it needs to retract from. If you look at the heart molds, all right, where you have this little loop here, it's got to retract in two places there, and then the sides as well, and then it's got to retract from the top. So what you're doing, you're asking the chocolate to do quite a lot of work. When you start looking at the love molds, and there's two issues, all right, this week. One was air bubbles in the chocolate. One was air bubbles in the molds, all right, and I'll explain how you can get rid of those. But what happens is you spray your, so temper your cocoa butter. However you do that, if you've done lessons with me, you know how to temper cocoa butter. Oh, you certainly know the science behind it and the reasons and why you have to go through such a process, right? So you spray your mold, you let it dry. Ideally, you want to kind of leave it for what, 1, 2, 3 hours, all right? You can spray and you can shell as soon as it's dry. I believe that you get such a better retraction if you leave it for a couple of hours. But anyway, you spray all that, and then specifically what's causing the problems is people are shelling the chocolate, they're tapping it out, and it's actually where the cocoa butter's being left in. It's a little bit of the tempering, but more than anything, it's the temperature. So when you put chocolate in, it's long-winded to explain this, but I'll get to the point eventually, right? When you put the chocolate in and you tap it and turn it out, you bang everything out, right? And then you give it a scrape, okay? And you leave it upside down. The temperature that it is at the moment means that when it goes dry, what happens is people turn it over. If you put it onto, I've got a really big, long 16-foot marble table here, and it's cold. The room is the room's 19.2 right now, but this is 18.1, okay? 18 degrees, a little bit too cold. So what happens is you spray it, or it's all good. You put the chocolate in, it's all good. And actually, if this is touching anywhere cold, it starts to retract too quickly. The chocolate actually needs time, and it needs quite a long time. This is the difference between it drying and retracting, right? If your room is too cold, it will start retracting. It will dry quickly, and it will start retracting almost immediately. The chocolate actually needs time to melt that cocoa butter across. Does that make sense to everybody? So we've got a layer, a very, very microscopic thin layer. Very thin. We should have a very, very thin layer of cocoa butter. The chocolate that goes in there needs to be warm enough to melt that layer of cocoa butter so that when it cools, it pulls it across. If it cools too quickly, it won't pull everything across. If it cools too quickly, it retracts at different areas, it dries. So you get spots around that pull away and those that don't. And then on top of that, you are asking a mold that's got lots of angles to retract at different different angles, right? The worst one is, this is by far my worst mold for retracting. So I have to do a thicker shell. All right, I have to do a thicker shell. I need to leave the chocolate in there longer because on each corner there are 3 areas that it's got to retract. So in the mold, I'm asking the chocolate to retract in 12 different places. Does that make sense to everybody? And like with the curved ones, of that, not so problem. But that flat mold is just, that causes me problems. I just have to be careful that I don't leave it anywhere too cold. And if I'm going to put it down, it's going to be on a silicone mat, so it's not touching anywhere cold. I'm trying to leave the moment of pouring the chocolate in and the time that it dries. I'm trying to make that as maximum as possible, and then I can turn it on its side and I can leave it to retract. Okay, there's that one. These two were done at, I'd be careful with this because they all fall out, but these two were all done at the same time. Okay, so and you'll see they will start retracting. There's these two in the middle, these two here, this one here, these two here. The rest is all retracted. So whence one goes, but what you're trying to do is slow it down. I'm trying not to leave this in a cold place. Okay, if your chocolate's tempered, as in it's got enough beta 5 crystals in it, it will retract. Eventually it will retract, but unfortunately we're at this time of year where the ambient temperatures are cold. Everybody has had January of not really doing much, and then they get to that second week of February and they're like, right, let's go charging full ahead. And actually it's the little details, and what I've found, what has fixed it for a lot of people, go to a stay with a 3-drop chocolate. For if you've got problems with retraction, stay with a 3-drop chocolate, but just take the temperature a little bit higher. So if you might shell dark chocolate at 32, you can go to 30, 32 and a half, not a problem at all. You're trying to lengthen that time of the wet chocolate touching the cocoa butter. Does that make sense? And then just slow down that drying time. If this gets put, with the wet chocolate in it, if this gets put anywhere where it's too cold, or if you put this in a wine fridge where it's kind of 18 degrees, it's going to start retracting almost immediately, and you're not going to pull away, you're not going to pull across the butter. So that was the solution to that one. I've got a load of questions here. Do I put chocolates in the fridge? No, not this time of year. My room temperature is 19. Let me just scroll down because I have got a few questions here, and then I'll talk about bubbles. All right, bubbles in. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Maria has joined us. Maria, I'm going to start on Maria's question. Right, bubbles in chocolate. Let me put this away. Bubbles. Okay. I don't have the love molds because I don't want to do them, and I don't have the kisses because they don't fit in my packaging either. Neither do the love ones. So that's how I roll. I think you've heard me. I think you've heard me bang off about that one enough. So bubbles that get stuck, right? Nearly all the bubbles are in this little edge here. Sorry, where are we? In this little edge here, right? You see? Then it's always there, or they're always on the very, very apex of that. There's two fixes to this. Go to a 4-drop chocolate. So a 4-drop chocolate, and you'll be able to tap the bubbles out. All right. But I'm going to give you a little bit of logic information here. When you've got the chocolate in your bowl, if there is air in the chocolate, if there's bubbles in the chocolate, they will end up in the mold. Okay. If you don't want bubbles in the mold, tap them out of the chocolate, and it's really as simple as just getting the chocolate and keep tapping like you would a mold. Tap all the air out. Try not to stir. Try and keep this upright when you stir. Right, let's go round. Okay. Give it a really, really good tap. If you get the air bubbles out of the chocolate, when you pour it in, you won't have air bubbles in there, and you will find that if you do that, you tap all the air out of the chocolate first. When you fill the mold, when you give it a tap, there's next to no bubbles at all. And the problem is, with all those little angles, if there is air bubbles in there, when they get to the bottom, they get caught. It doesn't matter how much you tap. I mean, you can tap and tap and tap until you shatter the edge of this. You're not going to get them to come up through. You're not going to get every single bubble to come up through. What you need to do is get it out of the chocolate first. That's the fix for bubbles, right? And it's just, if you're using a melter, doesn't happen so much in the big circulation and constant feeds tempering machines, because they go down through a sieve and they've got chance, all that air bubbles got chance to dissipate before it comes up the plumbing and then comes out through the tap, right? You find with the Rev Deltas, they really, really churn some air through. They really, really do whip some air into it. And you only really see it when you turn the circulator off. and you give the bowl a good tap, you'll see all the air bubbles come back up. So the fix to that is to actually tap all the air bubbles out. Get the air out of the chocolate before you put it in the mould, and you won't have bubbles in the mould. It's absolute logic, but I'm sure there's people there going, oh yeah. So that's the answer to that one. And the more edges a mould has, the more chances there are for air bubbles to get caught. Especially those little love, the ones that spell LOVE, they're quite deep, right? They're quite a deep little mould. That chocolate, I know they're only small air bubbles, but they've got a long way to travel upwards when you're tapping them. And you need to be quite vigorous. But you'll find if you get all the air out of the chocolate first and then pour it, I do it myself. I'm in the habit of doing it myself, right? I'll pour the chocolate in, I tap, and there's nothing. There's no. Occasionally I'll get one or two, but it's more a process. It's more a discipline of saying I'll get the air out. Get the air out of the chocolate before I pour it. Then I won't have a problem with air bubbles. Because the air bubble, they got in there because you put them in there because they were in the chocolate. And the thicker the chocolate, the more it will trap air. So 3 drop and 2 drop holds air terribly, and so does Anaya. Well, I use an Anaya 2 drop chocolate. Is it down there? Yeah, I use an Anaya for some things, which is a 2 drop. I love it. I tend to temper that, and then I will use that at 32.5, so it's as liquidy as I can get. But that really does trap a lot of air. So that's the answer. Everybody will disappear now they've got the answer. But that's the answer to that one, if that makes sense to everybody. So. Right, questions. Should do some questions. I'm looking for a more chewy caramel. Is it an increase in temp or proportions of butter? It's not the butter. It's the increased proportions of fat. So your basic recipe of caramel, what you want to do is equal amounts, but it's the fat that you add to it that will change the texture of it. If you put less sugar in, yes, it will be more liquidy, or if you put more cream in, it will be more liquidy. But you need a starting point, so an equal amount of sugar and cream is your starting point, but what you can do is add fat to that afterwards, whether that's cocoa butter, whether that's chocolate, or whether that is actually butter. Some people use clarified butter. I got a question about that this week. You can use clarified butter. Some people call it butter oil. Ghee is clarified butter, but it's a cultured butter, and I wouldn't suggest you put that into chocolate fillings, because it's a little bit funky and it's a little bit not really. Might go with spices, but beef fat's another one. I've heard. I think Basic Chocolates down in Australia, he's doing some stuff with beef fat. But yeah, if you want a more chewy caramel, yeah, up the fat content of it. Don't change the recipe formula of the caramel. Actually add things to it. So. Right, it's been busy, mostly cakes, cupcakes. Mother Baker, I've seen you post some lovely stuff this week, actually. So, oh no, Chris, no chocolate this week. COVID caught the family soon again. Oh dear, no, it's kind of. Well, the next slot for us is Easter, really, isn't it? I've got my designs already done for that, and then I have contracts that I have commitments. So forget Valentine's and all these other bits and pieces. I've got commitments of stuff that just doesn't change week to week. So going to retail, so it's 1,200 pieces minimum before I even start playing with Valentine's or anything else. So so Ika Baker, Mother Baker. Who's talking about the raspberry caramel? Did you all try that? So Irma's saying she had a problem with hearts this week. Hearts had to go in the freezer, out again and again, not coming out anyway. Finally did, but all the chocks broke after a few days and a few weeks. Yeah, there's so many. Actually, I've been sent dozens of pictures of what went wrong. So, does it matter if you allow to crystallize between colours? You don't need to, Aaron. So, cocoa butter. If you spray a really thick layer, okay? If you spray a really thick layer, with the right conditions, you can see that it retracts, all right? But it needs to be quite a heavy layer. What it needs to be, before you go with the next colour, it just needs to be dry. As long as it's dry. And if you're daring enough, you can just dab it with the end of your finger if it's clean, obviously. You want to, cocoa butter. You just want it to be dry before you go with the next layer. Otherwise, you'll blow all the other colour away, especially if you're airbrushing. But yes, you do. Yeah, ideally. So, Irma, you didn't have to throw chocolates away, did you? Okay. Friday treats. This is making so much sense now. You know what? You've had chats with me in lessons, so you know exactly what I mean when I say it's logic. But actually, because I've done so much, I think I'm just able to explain it in a different manner. I go on the forum. I was talking to Kelly. And somebody said, "Oh, you should go onto the forums." Well, I don't want to. My forum is here on Friday night. Loads of people join me. Loads of people ask questions. This is where I go. And I don't really go into the forums, because what happens is I answer a question and then I just get bombarded with amateurs saying, well, no, it's this, this and this. It's like, okay, I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to get into that. He said, she said, and blah, blah. But so I don't go on the forums. I don't really read all that stuff. So I think I know what I'm talking about. I wouldn't risk sitting here on a Friday night answering questions from chocolatiers around the world if I kind of didn't know what I was doing. So I stay away from the forums, because this is my forum, and everybody knows about this Friday night. I see similar faces and I see lots of new faces. So this is where I live on Friday night. So, and I quite enjoy doing it, and I'm going to keep doing it for as long as people find it of value. So you're very knowledgeable on coaching, mentoring. I don't do mentorship. I do coaching. And let me just explain for everybody that's had the one-to-ones with me. The coaching is, I don't want you to be like me. I want you to be like you. I want you to do what you do with the tools that you've got. I've got incubators. I've got Thermomix. I've got everything that I could need to make chocolate. But the lessons I do with people, they don't have all that stuff. So what I've had to do with the teaching is say, well, what have you got? And let's work with what you've got. And then you see some progression. And then they say, well, what should I invest in? Then I'm there and able to give that advice so they can actually get on their journey. I'm not monetary driven, right? I'm not hugely impressed by money. Money is not a motivator for me. I like seeing people succeed. I like seeing people achieve things. I like seeing people start at rough, like endless problems. There's a young lad that I'm going to post something later this week, Cole, who's in Texas. But a year ago, he's in his mum's kitchen saying, "Chef, my chocolate didn't retract and my colours didn't work." He's producing 150,000 bars of chocolate a month now, a year later, in a factory that's 1,100 square foot. So I love seeing people go through that journey, and I've helped so many. I don't do mentorship. I don't think you should pay for mentorship. I think if you've done one-to-ones with me, assume that you're in a mentorship, and I will answer the questions when you have them. All right. If it's like a 10-page questionnaire, I'm going to say book some time, but that's the reason I do that. So Irma, I'm sad to hear you had to throw most of them away. That's not good at all. That really isn't good at all. Were you in a hurry? Were you multitasking? You know what I say about chocolate and multitasking? Chocolate, you do a job, clean down, you start the next one. It's not a fast, speedy thing at all. So, right, we've got a load of. Don't use soy. Don't use soylent in my chocks. So Irma's saying, I don't use soy lecithin in my chocolate, and my chocolate is very heavy. Can I add more and more cocoa butter? Yes, you can. You can. Yes, you can add more cocoa butter. I got this today. I like what happened to the earthquake then. I quite like working with 4-drop chocolate. me personally, right? If you know what you're doing, you know how to handle it, and I know what I'm doing with the chocolates, and I recognise. I don't worry about the numbers so much anymore because I can see it. Having done it so many times, I can see what's going on. But I quite like a 4-drop chocolate, and this Fleur de Coco. I'm trying to find this is 70%, right? So 70%, but because it's a 4-drop, it's really, it's got a lot of cocoa butter in it, which is what improves the fluidity. But without soy lysothin, yeah, you're always going to have a really heavy chocolate, but what you can do is thin it down and get it to behave by contracting and solidifying faster. And dark chocolate, Irma, I know that you only kind of like dark chocolate. Dark chocolate's very good because it retracts and it's very strong, brittle, right? So it's very good for shells. White is probably the worst. If I line up all my, I've got 70 or 80 molds to shell tomorrow, but all the ones that are white, they'll be the last ones. When I line them all up and look at them, the white is the last ones because there's no real strength in there at all. But yes, you can, if you're not using soy lysothin. There are other lysothins available other than soy now. I think have a look round for those. So Susie Floozy saying that was her problem. No comment. Snickerdoodle, I have air conditioning to control my kitchen temperature. I've been experimenting with temperatures. What do you think is the optimum temp to work in? Between 18 and 21. I wouldn't dip below. I'd say 19, 20 and 21 is not just good for the chocolate, it's also good for you as well, right? Because all your equipment that's in the room, that's going to be the same temperature as well. And that's the problem with air conditioning. Everything is the same temperature. So every tool, every bowl, you put chocolate into a bowl that's 18, you'll find it will start kind of crystallizing. But 20 is probably good. 20 is, if you can maintain stable 20-degree temperature, and the humidity is decent, around about the 50, 55, 60. The problem is if you go colder and you take out all the humidity, you're just going to end up coughing all the time, and then that's not going to be good for you. So you need a working condition that's good for both, right? It's not just about the chocolate, it's about the environment that you're working in. And I've worked in kitchens that are very cold, and towards the end of a 12-hour shift, it's in your bones and it takes you hours, and you're just prone to every cold bug and flu that's going. So 20 degrees Snickerdoodle for that one, I would say. What else have we got? Questions. Any questions? I hope my hands up to multitasking mess ups this week. Lesson learned. You can be doing other things, right? But if you're spraying, just spray, all right? Because you need to control those butter temperatures. You need to nail them. If you want super shine and you want it to retract, you need to nail those temperatures. When you're shelling, again, it's temperature driven. Certain things happen at certain temperatures, and you're looking for that either visually, or you are. Oh, I've got a new toy. Or you are measuring it, right? So you can't really afford to take your eye off. I think when I'm starting to, I have the music up really loud when I'm spraying. But when I start shelling, I kind of turn it down a little bit so I can concentrate. I just can't really afford to, once I put the chocolate in, I really can't afford for a mistake. Because if it's a tray of 32 and you're charging £1.50 each, you got 58 quid's worth of chocolate that could potentially become 50, 40, 30. So I think you can, it's not so much about multitasking, it's about doing an individual task, finishing it, cleaning down. I think like with spraying, I will spray like I've done today. These are all done in, so they're batches, they're trays of 12, and it's 6 lots of 12, and then tomorrow I will shell them all in their batches, and then I'll fill them all in their batches, and then I can separate them out, right? And I know that selection of 12 will do 32 boxes of 12, right? Job done. Providing I don't lose a chocolate, right? And that's where I start having. I won't. It's all fine. But it's really about being kind of logical with that. I think if somebody says, "Oh, I want 40 boxes," I'm kind of more inclined to go, "Do you 32? Do you 64?" I don't do split half trays. like I don't do group learning. So that answers that one. But yeah, multitasking's caused a lot of problems for people this week. So Aaron Palderman, thank you for answering my Valentine's headaches. Do you have a favourite bench scraper? Not in here, but I believe there's one on the way to me very shortly. So is Kookaburra your favourite brand? I don't know if I have a favourite brand. I use chocolates from all over. I've got Kookaburra, I've got Casaluca, I've got some Belcolade there, I've got a Valrhona, I use all sorts. I like Kookaburra because I like some of the flavour notes in them. I like Calibert. I don't stick with one flavour. So I don't stick with one brand. And you know what? Because I like the variety. I like that I don't choose the chocolate on the brand. I choose the chocolate based on the flavour note that I'm looking for. I like this one. This one's quite fruity, right? This one is really, really fruity. But some of the flavours that I've got going for this spring collection, that's ideal. But I may well, because that's a 4-drop, what I might do is just blend 25% of the Anaya with that one to give myself a 3-drop. That makes sense. And where the Anaya is quite like heavy with berries, and these berries, caramelly, vanilla-y, I'll be able to balance something out and get something close to another favourite chocolate, if that makes sense. So I know who's going to ask me about, somebody sent me a question about mixing colours. So I'll answer that one in a minute. Who sent me that? Can't remember. You're here. I know you're here. I'd have to go and have a look. Right, let me just keep going. So you don't put your moulds in the fridge at all after shelling? No. No, I don't. I don't need to. It's 19 degrees. Look, if your chocolate's tempered and your chocolate has the right amount of beta 5, which are the chains of crystals that we're looking for, if they've got, these haven't been in the fridge. These haven't been in the fridge, and I dare say that if I give that a little twist now, we'll see some of them. We'll see some of those retract. If there's enough beta 5 crystals, and you've tempered your chocolate, it will retract. If your room is 21, 22 degrees, it will retract. So I don't put them in the fridge. When we get to summer and it gets really, really hot, okay, there might be a reason to just put them in for a minute or so, 2 minutes, but I won't put them in the fridge for 15 minutes and come back. I'll put them in there and I'll check them after a minute. And put them in the fridge so that the dome is facing you. Stand it up so that when you just crack the door, what you don't want to do is open the door, let a load of warm air back in and moisture, and then raise the humidity. So just crack the door open a little bit and see. And if one or two have started to retract, I'll take them out. But that's only if I need to force them to retract a little bit. So humidity, I've got the beach 150 meters that way, so humidity is my biggest problem here. So but no, I don't put molds in the fridge ever. So love the Thermapen. These are the best, right? I do have others, but the speed that these read, and the fact that it doesn't matter which way round you go, you can, I like them. And I think the best thing, the stem on this, like you can you can melt 5 kilos of chocolate and give it a stir with that and not worry about it snapping. And that's a game changer, that one, I think, from Thermapen. The fact that this measuring bit is so strong, that's a game changer. But yeah, it's just the speed, the accuracy, and the speed that they measure is fantastic. So everybody's having a little chat. It's like a forum of friends. It's brilliant. I love this. Do you check which variety of cocoa tree the chocolate comes from, like Trentario, Fostario? I do and I don't. I'm aware of it. I don't select based on that. I select based on having been in kitchens for the last 35 years. And I've seen all the chocolates in the last kind of 10, 15 years. Kookaburra I'm very familiar with. Valrhona I'm very familiar with. There is a brand that I really like, but I can't seem to get here very easily, which is Weiss chocolate from Switzerland. I don't know. I don't select it based on the beans. I think a lot are blended anyway. To get single origin now is ridiculously expensive, single origin chocolate. So most are a blend of Trinitario. Anyway, so no, I don't select on that personally. So I mix my own cocoa butters, but I do it by eye. Do you find it important to weigh butter colour? Yeah. If you want consistency, you need to measure it. And for cocoa butter colours, you know, it's 10 grams. It's 10 grams in every 100, right? If you want the same colours over and over, I did. I don't know if I've got it here. I sprayed an. I've got an orange here, right? I've got an orange there that I did today, but I know it was a blend of 4 different colours. And then there was another colour that I sprayed earlier that was red. So I took gold and I added 15%. Sorry, I had a red that I added. No, it wasn't. It started as a gold. It was a gold that I added 15% red to and sprayed that which is those ones there. So the red dot on that's actually mostly gold. This little red. So it's gold with 15% red in it. And it's easy enough to work out on a calculator, a set of micro scales. But if you want it to be the same time and after time, I do think it's important to measure. I think it's important to measure everything actually. And where I use silk to, I don't temper. I use micro, or I've got an incubator now, but I'll use silk. But I'm always aware of how much chocolate my moulds will make, therefore I need this much in here, therefore I need this much. So I kind of need to know the numbers. So there shouldn't be any waste with chocolate. Obviously things go wrong and things get ruined, but generally, I did. That was chocolate today. That's with the silk. Can you see how shiny that one is? It's pretty, that's with the silk from the incubator. Once I get a bit more use out of that, I'll share that one night and just explain to everybody what it is and where I got it from, and the prices and all that stuff. So, what are my thoughts on the Fecklin? I like that brand. I really, really do. Cole's joined us. Right, Cole Robinson is the lad I was telling you about. So yeah, I'm going to repost something. I'm going to tell the story, but I'm sure he's going to be embarrassed. But yeah, a year ago, he was messaging and we had conversations about, my cocoa butter's not working, my the caramel's not working. There was so many questions and lessons and what have you. But to see Cole kind of move into his own factory now, producing, I think it is 150,000 bars a month. I think it's 150,000 a month. He'll correct me now, but it's huge. And I spoke to him the other day, and he's like, "How do you store 700 pounds in weight of chocolate?" I think wherever you can is the answer. 15,000. Is it 50? Yeah, 15,000. Is that 15,000 a week, Cole, or 15,000 a month? Either way, it's bloody impressive. So, where did I get those mats? I was given those. Do you know Damien Wager? I'm sure you've all heard of Damien. Yeah, Damien gave me a load of mats. So 15,000. Yeah, so Cole's got to do 15,000 a month, which is a year ago. He's in his mum's kitchen doing bonbons, and it's a very different story now. So you know what, you can grow very, very rapidly. So Miss Harris, for some reason, orange doesn't agree with my mould. Only orange. I'll tell you what I have found is certain. Are you hand painting or are you airbrushing, Miss Harry? Are you? Yeah. What are you doing? If you're painting by hand or airbrushing, it could be one or two things there. So, what else have I got? Friday Freaks. Yeah, IKEA do them. Yeah, or with the chocolate. I don't pour chocolate onto a table, right? We work here, me and my wife, right? the more mess we make, the longer it takes to clean up, right? Everything goes onto there. Everything that I was spraying today was on rubber mats. You can see the shimmer on that one already. See the shimmer? Everything we do on the rubber, and we do on silicone mats, right? Because I peel the chocolate off. There is no waste. I'm not making a massive mess everywhere. The less mess you make, the less jobs you've got right at the end. So you put the effort into making chocolates, not cleaning up the work from chocolate. So okay. Kelly's organising shopping. Can you get me some while you're out there? So yeah, Leslie's posted some lovely stuff this week, hasn't she? Did you see the love hearts? Did you see the love hearts that Leslie's got a lesson booked soon? So I'm gonna have to put my thinking hat on for that one, aren't I? I have those mats too, about to make macaroons when aerobing on a mat. Yeah, use the. I think, you know what, as you make money, you reinvest, right? And your investments at the beginning are tools just to make life a little bit easier. If you can invest in the tools that keep you organised or stop getting you too messy, they're good investments. They are very, very good investments. And they are investments. You kind of like, you know, you have a wish list, but your wish list should be things that improve productivity and keep you organised. If you concentrate on investing into those areas first, actually you'll find all the other stuff will drop in. When you get efficient at making the bonbons and you get efficient at making, because I spray all these bits today, and I don't think it took me more than 3 hours to do 70 something molds, which seems like a long time, but the batches are around here, and they're all kind of ready to go. And tomorrow I'll just hit the whole lot in one go. I'll spray all on the same day, I will shell all at the same time, I will fill all at the same time, and then when it comes to capping, it will be a batch at a time, and I'll cap the lot in one go. As soon as I turn them out, they're going into boxes, and they're good to go, right? So yeah, the eco bake, Leslie, those hearts that she posted, Leslie did, is absolutely amazing. I think she's probably working right now, isn't she? No one's taking over the internet with like her amazing chocolate. So yeah, who else got any other questions? Did what I said about the molds and the chocolate and the cocoa butter retracting, did that make sense to everybody? Did everybody understand that? Does anybody want me to cover that one again? After this, I'll post this to Instagram, and then tomorrow I will post this onto YouTube, and then next week I will remove this off my page, and then if you want to find it, it'll be on YouTube. So that's how I'm going to do that from here on, because it's just filling up a lot of storage for me. It's a similar process to osmosis. What's that, Mo? Snickerdoodle, mate, say Snickerdoodle, you must have a question for me. You have the best questions in the whole of the Tinternet. So, okay. Who else? Have I missed any questions? Eco Baker. Salt caramel shaping up very well, thank you for sharing. Happy days. Oh, are you doing that? Phil, are you doing have you tried the did you try the raspberry and white chocolate? That's a lot of people have done that one. Quite nice. It's quite nice. Obviously the butter in that recipe, it says 100 grams, right? You can come back on that if you want to. And you'll get a softer caramel. Which is a bit nicer because it makes the raspberry a bit more pronounced, but actually to get the shelf life and to get that kind of texture, yeah, you need quite a lot of butter in there. So, and because of the amount of white chocolate that's in there, you need the butter just to solidify things a little bit. So okay. What's that Friday cheese? Now I know why I ended up with an S. Star Wars bars instead. Oh, you're trying to write backwards in the bars. I write Arabic, right? So it's straightforward for me to it's really straightforward for me to write from right to left. Makes sense, right? Or I can write from left to right to left, whichever. But some people, I see some people trying to sketch in there, and they're like, "Well, I want to write I love you." They're trying to do it upside down, and it breaks my heart. Get a bit of paper and practice writing it backwards on a piece of paper until you get it neat, and then don't go into a mould that's freshly sprayed and go, right, well, I'm going to learn. I've got the whole mould to nail the execution. So the first 30 are crap, but the last 2 are okay. Get a bit of paper, and these are the skills, right? Get a bit of paper and practice writing L-O-V-E backwards. That's the skill, right? Once you've done it, it's doing lines at school, isn't it? Once you've written it 100 times, you will get that memory, all right? And to see people honestly, you see people going like that. L. Yeah, not good. Miss Harry did the raspberry with balsamic. It was amazing. Yeah, a tiny drop of raspberry vinegar or balsamic in the end gives it a really lovely acidity. I think the problem with caramels is you do burn off the acidity, and you've got an option to put an acid back, and a lot of people grab citric acid, which I don't like citric acid. I'll do it. Maybe next week I'll do something on acids. I'll get the acids that I use, and I'll explain what I do with them and why I use certain ones, or why I don't use certain ones, actually, maybe explain that. But the vinegar on the back of something that's very, very heavy in fat, like that raspberry caramel, and it is very heavy fat, that one. It's very luxurious taste to it. But the acid at the end, whether that's balsamic or raspberry vinegar, is really, really nice. Just brings up the raspberry flavour again, because caramels, yeah, the acidity gets driven off and then the fat overtakes it, so you kind of need to reintroduce it. What you don't want to do is add citric acid, which is just not battery acid, isn't it? So right, Mother Baker saying it's where osmosis, where 2 concentrations even up across a semi-permeable membrane, not identical, but the principles are similar. Yes, it is. It's what's causing the problem. I'll explain this again, all right? What's causing the problem is because it's cold, because the tables are cold, and people are putting the chocolate in because they're just trying to get production done. The chocolate needs time in here to melt the cocoa butter across, right? And you see how solid these are when they're new. That's a melted one. I've got nice purple one there, but they're absolutely solid, right? So that thin layer, it does take some heat it's gonna need some heat to melt that across. And if it hasn't got long enough, not all of it will jump across, not all of it will marry across. And it's called fixopic adhesion, and it needs that time to move across. If it doesn't, it gets left in the mould, and then it dries, it doesn't move across, it retracts, cocoa butter's left there, chocolate pulls away, and then you've got no option really but to clean your moulds. It's finding a way to, I said to somebody this week, if you're putting these on a cold metal table, you're going to cool them down fast. If you get yourself a couple of rubber mats, or even just to put them onto a tea cloth, right? Just for that first 6-7 minutes, just to slow down how quickly it dries, all right? That's the trick. So, what's the tool in my hands? That one. That's a flour baller. That's a flour baller. When you spray your moulds, and you can, I've got one here. They're just plastic, but they're very, very smooth. There's no seams on it, so I can just draw or scribe or do whatever I want to do. I use that for stirring my silk, just because it's easier to clean. It's a Sugarcraft tool. Yeah, it is. It's for balling flowers. When I used to do pastelage, anybody know what pastelage is? Used to mix icing sugar with gum tragacanth, sometimes gelatine, but mostly gum tragacanth. And then we used to make like the pianos or harps or, God, you name it. We used to make anything. And we used to make, oh God, I used to have to make these, imagine the shape of a grand piano, probably about half the size of this, all right, a grand piano with the keys and all the rest of it, and we used to put, for the ladies' dinner nights, there would be 4 chocolates in it, and you'd lift the lid, and that was the petit fours for a big dinner night in the army. And then at the end of the night, the waiters would pick it up and throw it, but it's taking you a week to make, right? So we used to use these for balling out on the sponge. You get a sponge and put the pastelage on there, and then you can just, different ones, you can just ball out the petals, but you can shape things and do bits and pieces. So made raspberry vinegar for salads. Never thought about adding it to caramels. Thanks for the idea. Yeah, do you know what I think I'll do next week? So we've got all the different acids that we use, okay, and we've all heard of them. We're all familiar with them. But maybe next week I should just do a little chat on the different acids. And as we're going into spring, and soon enough we're going to get into the season of fruits, and before we get there, it might be nice to just have that conversation about what acids you use and why. Because acids are, if you want to get flavour out of something, your option is salt, which we can use in a couple of things, but your other option is acids. But if you put citric acid in something, you're going to make everything taste the same as the ascorbic acid, which is even stronger. So maybe I'll do that one next week, and I'll do some little graphs, and I'll explain to you why I would choose certain acids and why I won't use certain acids, whether that's citric, malic, ascorbic, vinegars. So yeah, maybe I'll do that next week and do a little explanation of why. It's all information, isn't it? And everybody's learning. So, have I seen the new Roxy and Rich pinks yet? No, I haven't. Somebody is arranging my edible universe. She's not on here. She has an amazing page. She's from Denmark. So she's called my edible universe. So she's going to send me some pink colour powders because I just can't find any here. I want neon in your face, like pink, like this, that pink. But I can't find anything here that I like, and I've not seen the Roxy and Rich ones yet. So yeah, we'll see. Coco Lily, I've got so many mixed information regarding polishing moulds. Do you polish your moulds? Yeah, you do. Polish them. You can use alcohol if you want. I don't, but cotton pad. The problem is, if there's any marks in there, and your finger will leave a fingerprint in there. Okay, so the smoother and the cleaner that your mould is, the better when it retracts the shine will be. The great shine comes from tempering cocoa butter properly. However, when your mould is not, like with this yellow, probably won't see anything at all actually if there's any marks on it, because it's not very reflective. Same as I've got a white there. As for Biscoff, oh, this is a vanilla. I went with that for vanilla. Really, really fine micro dots. But you need to polish them, but you don't need to polish them 8 times. The sun doesn't have to be at 14 degrees and the temperature of the mould to be 20, and there's got to be like sunrise in a cotton pad. Cotton pads, you just need to get any grease that's in there that's out, that's all, and all it will do is it will affect the eventual shine on your chocolate, but they do need to be clean. Whether you do that with alcohol is just a good degreaser, that's all it is. It doesn't do anything magical. Most of it burns off. The reason we would use isopropyl was because it's 99.9%. So once you've got it on the mold, it's very good at degreasing fats, but it burns off and it disappears and there's nothing in there. You're just left with a really squeaky clean surface. But I give mine a warm with a hairdryer, quite warm with a hairdryer, and then I buff them all out. And then here's a tip: leave these, once you've polished them with these, right, leave them to stand for at least half an hour, because if you polish these and you try and spray, you'll get static flying everywhere, and what you meant to put in the mould starts flying and coming back at you, and it's just a horrendous mess. So when you're polishing, you're adding static. You just need to leave that to, I don't know what the word is, dissipate, is that the right word? To become static free, I guess is the word. But yeah, you're just waiting for that static electricity to burn off. So, but yeah, you do need to clean them, that's definitely so. Can you make your own caramel? Can you make your own? Can you make your caramel recipe into hardball? Is it just cooking it longer to a high temperature? Yes, it is. Well, there's a lot of fat in there, so there'll come a point where the sugar will pass the 117 up to 121, up to 128. There'll come a point where it just becomes hard to crack, so it's quite a challenge, that one. I think if you wanted hard caramels, you would put less fat in. If you want soft caramels, you would add the fat once you've got the achieved temperature of the caramel. If that makes sense. So Nick's joined us. Chocolate Pig, hello. Sugar Sheila's here. Sugar Sheila, you asked me the question about colours, didn't you? So you need to ask that one again, because it's in my DMs and I can't open that from here. So I've got Kelly. I've got the fuchsia pink from Roxy and Rich, and no. So anyway, my edible universe, I think she's going to get hold of some and post them to me. So so yeah, Chef Rubber do a couple of good strong pink. Yeah, they do. And there is a shop that says they have them till you order them, and they haven't got them. So don't get me started. Yeah, I'm gonna get somebody to post me the colours in, and I'll make my own. That's not a problem at all. But my edible universe, she's got an incredible page. It's well worth having a look. So and that's somebody that I it's a chocolatier that I am very fond of, and it's somebody we share a lot of information back and forth about styles and designs and bits and pieces. So but yeah, she's going to get hold of some. She's based in Denmark, so I don't know the brand, but she went, it's this, I'll send you it. So Sugar Sheila, I got the flesh colour by mixing purple and yellow. You shouldn't ask me about colours. You shouldn't ask me about, you know not to ask me questions about colours. I had to, you know what, today I had to keep going saying to my wife, is that orange or is that yellow? And then I couldn't see, one of the moulds has been sprayed with copper and one's with black, and I couldn't see the difference. I was in the garden going, is that one black and is that one copper? Which one is, it's that one. So yeah, don't ask me questions on, I'm good with colours, I just can't see them so well, so bit of a challenge for me, that one. So do chocolate moulds ever become not usable over a long period of time? No, polycarbonate's quite strong. Polycarbonate is very, very strong. It does get scratched. The more you wash it, yeah, the more you wash it, you get micro scratches over a period of time. I think anybody that's bought moulds from the famous online store, and you get the moulds that are really, really, really thin, they don't last very well because it's not very good quality polycarbonate. It's kind of more plastic than it is anything else, and they're very, very, very flimsy, right? You can really, really twist them, but those ones scratch really, really bad. So you'll find that the cheaper moulds have quite a, you know, the shelf life's not great, whereas I use, the majority of my moulds are in plast, and they're good, heavy, and I don't have a major problem holding on to them or polishing them. So, but I don't find they have a limited shelf life. No, I think it's how you look after them, right? I use them, I clean them, I dry them, I store them. I don't dry them, the girls do. They love polishing moulds, so they will, you know, they'll dry them and polish them and put them away for me. So that's good. Gosh, is it really that time? Right. Right, I'm going to need to go because it's gone past. This is the quickest hour. Chocolate, last must be your lucky day. They're always out of stock when I want on me. Every time I want to do. Am I CP2? No, I am CP4. Mother Baker. All 4 colour perceptions. So It's not the end of the world. I get by. It's not been a problem all my life. It's just actually some colours I just need somebody else to just confirm what I think that it is. But it's not really a colour. I see a shade. But it's alright. It's fine. I'm doing all right considering I'm like proper colourblind. So right, hang on. Sugar Sheila. Okay, when mixing with powder, do I have to have plain cocoa butter? Yes. This one, that's cocoa butter. So all I would do, basic formula, all right? If you have 100 grams of butter, cocoa butter, it's 10 grams of colour, fat soluble colour, all right? Heat the cocoa butter to about 45, add the cocoa butter in, stick blender. If you want some opacity, so if you want it to be really, really bright, add 3 grams of titanium dioxide to that 110 gram mix, right? So it's 10% colour and 3% titanium dioxide. If you're doing just plain whites, cocoa butter is 10% titanium dioxide, which is quite a heavy saturation of titanium of E171. But that's basically it. I don't make a lot of my own colour. I do make some colours. I don't do a huge amount just because of the volumes that I need, but you never know. I am thinking about going back to doing some of my own because I've started to get such a random collection, and I get sent stuff as well, right? And where I get sent stuff, I've just got mountains of. Maybe I should just like do a giveaway, but I've used a lot of them. But I've got mountains of. I mean, there's boxes. There's 3 boxes this size. There's 3 this size of colours, right? Some I get sent, some aren't great, some are amazing. Some are amazing, but I can't buy them again, which is kind of pointless sending me them. So, anyway. Right, guys, I am going to go. A customer asked me and said, I'd ask, how do you pronounce So Sassy? So Sassy. It's named after the girls. It's Sophia, Salma and Seren. So Sassy. When I started a couple of years ago, this was their toy room and I stole it. And I think it was only fair that I named it after them. But that's my version of the story. So Sassy. As somebody said to me, it's stupid, it doesn't mean anything. I'll tell you what, it absolutely means the world to me, those 3 girls. So I like the name and I'm going to stick with it. So that's all. Right, I'm going to get going. Everybody have a lovely weekend. Enjoy Valentine's Day. Try and stay out of trouble. Try and stay out of the news, especially page 3. You, Maureen, I know. What else? Next week, I will do something on acids. If anybody wants me to cover anything else, you need to ping it over during the week because I'm getting a little bit busy with training, coaching, one-to-ones. But thank you for joining. Some big numbers tonight, actually. But thank you for joining. Thank you for your support. Thank you for everything. I will continue doing these for as long as people find them useful. It's not actually about me. It's about you guys joining every week. And I speak to a lot of you in one-to-ones. And I think you are fabulous, fabulous people. If you are stuck with anything, a video is easier for me to explain rather than a vague description. So if you go, well, my airbrush isn't working, it could be, in my knowledge, that could be 500 things. If you send me a video, very often I'll be able to get to it. So if you've got issues, yeah, something descriptive in a video that I can see. All right. Everybody have a lovely weekend, and I will speak to you, well, not too soon, all right? Take care. Sarah, you're going to come and say bye-bye. Quickly, quick. Yella. Oh, Sarah wants to say bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone.
And Salma's here. These are the So Sassy... No, this is the Sassy crew. The So's not here. Go. All right, bye-bye. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Ciao.
Adios.